Hello, this is Mike Lively, and we're still hacking away at Papervision, and today we're going to remove the number2D class. But I want to make a few points here, and I'm actually looking at the hacking 3D that we've been working with, but let's go up and take a look at away 3D as well. Well, what I want to look at is the core class. And so this is a core class for away 3D, and it's completely been converted over to the new Flash 10. And if you look, there's only just a few classes, like a few sets of classes, four folders here, and if you open up the base class, you only have like four basically classes. And what I'm saying is, as you move on with hacking, that even if you start with Papervision or if you start with away 3D, eventually your software is going to get closer to looking the same, because you have to pull from those classes that are within the Flash players, and there's only a few ways to do that. And what you'll see is this Vector 3D up here in the away 3D, which we have been hacking away in Papervision using a lot. But you're also going to see a lot of strict typing that's not in Papervision. That's very important. So if you're used to basically working with Java, you know that everything's got to be typed. And here we're actually basically getting away from the number and using a vector, and that vector actually allows us, it's a much lighter mechanism than the number is, and we're going to use this as we move on in our hacking. We're going to want to do that as we move on in the hacking. Let's go ahead and get rid of number 2D. So we're going to open up the core, go to math, and look how many more classes are here than you have in away 3D. And some of them you need for different purposes, but actually a lot of that is just extra baggage because of not being in Flash 10 and taking advantage of all those possible classes that you can use. Let's come along here and go to math, and let's take a look at number 3D. We pulled that out. Let's pull number 2D out. So we're going to slide number 2D right onto old code. I'm going to open it up and take a look at it. Do not update references, and you're going to start getting a bunch of errors because you're missing that class now. But let's take a look at it real quick. What does it do? Well, basically, number 2D is what it is as opposed to number 3D. You only have an X and Y value. So what does that in the Flash player? So let's go to our first error, and we'll figure that out. So go to our first error, and we've got import number 3D. We don't want that. So we're in the fast rectangle utility, which we had an error in due to removing our number 2D. And so what replaces that? And what replaces that is what's called a point. So let's go ahead and add it in flash.geometry. Once again, same class, but instead what we're using is a point. And what is a point? Well, all you have to do is roll over and get that highlighting there. And basically all the point is, and so what is a point object? Well, basically a point object represents a location in two dimensions. It's basically X and Y. And so before there was X, Y, and Z in Flash, there was just X and Y. And so since this number 2D or this point was very important, and so we're going to go through this and basically replace all number 2D with point. So let's Control F, number 2D now, not 3D, and just go point. And replace all, and we'll just save. And that took away the errors in there. And it was the same thing that we're going to start doing. We're going to go through all of this, going through all the different errors that have been created by removing point 2D, and there are quite a few of them, but we'll get through all of them, no problem. And we'll go through the same procedure as we did with point 3D. Let's go ahead and go to the next error. In core and in render, there's another one. Let's open up command, and there we got one called render line. Let's click on that. We're going to go right up here, and we're going to go to our number 2D and get rid of it. And I'm going to do something very interesting. I'm going to highlight the code underneath it. I'm going to hit Control Alt, just click up, so I have an exact copy of that, and just change that to point. And that's it. And that is pretty much a replacement of numbers 2D with point. And I have a bunch of errors, so I'm going to just start going through systematically and replacing all of these. And I want to use my Control F trick, so I'll go Control F, number 2D, let's replace that with point, and replace all. And we're going to go ahead and save that. And once again, more errors. And now we're starting to see the same type of thing that we saw before. We got a plus equals, we have a multiply, and we need to figure out how to pull all of that from the Flash player. So let's see if that exists in the Flash player. Let's see if a multiply or an equals exists in the Flash player. So I'm going to go just basically V, because it knows it's going to be a point now, hit dot, and see what kind of code hinting I get right there. And let's see if there's a multiply in there anywhere. Well, I see an add, a clone, an equals, a normalize, an offset, a set property, a subtract to, and a string. And so some of these methods may not exist inside of the point variable in Flash. We have to create those and actually refer to those. So it just turns out that we just don't have these methods in in the Flash player. So I'm actually going to just add those here so you can see those. So for v multiply, it's pretty much just a two-dimensional multiplication in a sense. We've looked at this before, where it's just you take some quantity u and you multiply it times v and you add it to itself, and that would be this done by this here. We do it for this x and y position. So we can get rid of that one by replacing with that code. And for the multiply plus, once again, all you're doing in a sense is plus equals is that you're adding the vector to itself. So once again, that can be eliminated and added by that. And then we have just below that another method. We have a minus equals where we actually want to subtract v and add to it. So let's show you the code for that. And for that minus equals p, you had to put a minus sign there. So we've actually replaced all these methods, which is fairly easy. Unfortunately, they don't exist in the Flash player. So we just have to write those out, and that's how you do that. So we can get rid of that as well. So let's save this and see if we've got removed all our errors. And we have a few more, so let's go down there and see what those are. And here is basically a reset, and how do you do that? So I'm showing below all the code that replaces that, and let me just outline that for you. Here for reset, all we have to do is, well, as before with the vector, we just do the point, just set a new point, and just the values you want to reset to. For the and so we do that again, reset, and we do that again, reset, and then we got the copy from, and what we're basically going to use is the clone method, right? And then we have the minus equals, and you can see the minus equal method is right there. So once again, now we're going a little more rapid because we've already gone through this process with 3D. So we'll just start showing the code that needs to go in there, and we'll get rid of all this now we've done replacements. And so we got rid of that. How we fix that class? And we fixed that class. Very good. So once again, following those procedures before, let's go back and see if we have any more errors. And we're going to have errors because 2D has to be replaced. And see what we got here. And I'm not seeing any more errors right now. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be any. Let's go and run it and see if anything works. And there you have it. Everything's working, and we've replaced the number 2D class. Let's move on to the next assignment in Chapter 2.